I will tell you, as I looked these questions over, and it was clear that it was on several people's minds, the idea that we are too dependent on China. What can we do with cheap Pennsylvania energy? What about infrastructure? And bottom line, what can we do to break that stranglehold specifically from China when you think about plastics, PPE, all that? What can we do to ensure that Pennsylvania, the United States, is dominating in attracting business here, but also in the process breaking that stranglehold that China specifically has? So I'll throw that one over to you.
Yeah, George, you throw a lot at me, but let me try to handle each in turn. When it comes to making sure we get our supply chain back into the United States and domestically, again, we've got to make sure that we reduce the barriers to business. Again, going back to having a competitive corporate tax structure, regulation reform, so we only have regulations that are absolutely necessary. We want to invite people here to do business. That will go a long way. But we got to remember that China is not playing by the same rules, and that is giving them a huge advantage. We invited them into the World Trade Organization years ago, and since that time, they have not abided by the rules of the WTO. They've actually gone out of their way almost to violate it, from stealing our intellectual property, forcing companies to do forced intellectual property transfers when they move their businesses to China to get market share in China. That's all illegal. They also dump raw materials into the United States, steel in particular, carbon. We've seen that happen. Aluminum, they've dumped into the United States, which is a predatory practice. And then not so much recently, but 5-10 years ago, they also were heavily involved in currency manipulation. So we've got to hold China accountable on that and make sure that if they do step out of line and they do get out of step with the norms of the WTO, we should hold them accountable. I'm very happy to announce that earlier today, Leader McCarthy put me on a China task force. We were supposed to have this task force back in February. It was getting rolled out. It was supposed to be, I think, 3 or 4 Republicans, 3 or 4 Democrats, and Nancy Pelosi just stalled on this. And now, because she has not gone forward with the steps to stand up this committee, Kevin McCarthy has done it on his own. And I'm lucky to be on that committee. But my focus on that committee is making sure that we hold China accountable, not only for this current pandemic, but for the economic fouls that they've committed leading up to that. So I think that's a lot what we can do to hold China accountable and move our supply chain back into the United States.